This last week has been in many ways a very important week. A week of me really having to, go deep inside, not to contemplate or think about what the future is going to bring, but I know it has to be different. There has to be a whole new way of growing, a whole new way of, you know, passing this work on to people. And the week was about that. It was quiet. It was too hot to really do anything. And that was good because it meant going deep inside. It meant changing inside myself, opening to a new way, maybe a new path, something that has to be cosmically, creatively different in the way the work will be transmitted to people. I mean, of course, one of them is, as I've been talking, is the beginning of these in-person classes. I haven't really done it for a couple of years now, but I'm going to start doing that. Purpose of these classes is to truly train people so that I can pass on this work to them. I'm not getting younger, for God's sake. My next birthday is interesting birthday. And I need to pass the work on. I need to give it away. I need to make sure that people really learn this. They develop a system inside where they're truly ready to teach this work. Because, people think about teaching this work. I mean, it's nothing that you can ever imagine. It's not just sitting in front of 25 people here and transmitting Shakti. It's a life choice. It's completely and totally a life choice. And to do it, you have to let go of, so much. You have to let go of just about everything. Otherwise, the energy gets dammed up, it gets blocked in all kinds of emotional and mental situations, and it doesn't flow. And the whole secret in this is to be able to live in the world and to be, excuse me, I won't tell you wherever I was, for a whole week, I didn't cough. It's so interesting, I thought there was something wrong with me. And I think it's just some kind of stuff, that's something I'm allergic to here or whatever. But anyway, to continue. The work really has to be passed on. And I'm starting in-person classes. I'm going to start doing retreats again. I'm going to start doing profounder, work, go to areas that the internet doesn't really allow you to go. Although these classes are very strong, in-person work gets much deeper. I know there are problems. People live literally all over the world here, New Zealand, everywhere in the United States. Not too many people here live in Connecticut, but there's nothing I can do about that. But the work is open to anyone who wants to find time to get here. And if spiritual life means enough, you'll find time to get here, because my job is to pass on what Rudy taught me. I don't want to create some kind of illusion of spirituality. I don't want to create, some kind of aura of spirituality. I want it to be a direct transmission of the powerful teachings that Rudy left the world. I mean, it's what he asked me to do. I remember in Big Indian, there was so many people there that were doing so much bullshit, And I said to Rudy, well, what happens to these people? He said, Stuart, in 20 years, none of them will be here. You will be here, passing on the work that I'm teaching you. And that's the kind of student I really need. Not people that make excuses and this and that, but people who truly can open to a depth inside themselves that they're willing to take whatever responsibility they have to take in order to learn the amazing thing that Rudy left us in this world. Ultimately, what he left us is life is the temple. Understand? Everything around us is a manifestation of God's energy. The only thing that's missing is the strength in a human being to live that way.
Mm.
The only thing that's missing. It doesn't mean we reject our family, we run off to live in ashrams and monasteries. It means we get the training so that our families become deeply sacred. You understand? Our jobs become deeply sacred. You know, everything we do every day of our lives becomes deeply sacred. Now, in order for me to live this way, it took years of training, years. And frankly, my life gets more sacred every minute. It's just staggering to me what is going on in my life today. It's just wonderful. So what I'm telling you all is that this is available. Stuart Perrin is not getting younger. Take advantage of it. Rudy used to say the same thing. He said, you know, take advantage. He said, don't build shrines to me. Don't build, you know, don't kowtanker to me. Just learn what I have to teach. If you want to give me the greatest gift that you can possibly give to a human being, he told me, just learn what I have to teach and pass it on to other people. That will free me. It means I won't have to come back here and straighten out all the bullshit that people create. And, you know, somebody can be doing that. So this is what this is all about. You understand? And, you know, time passes. You know, it's like that wonderful thing I read in, you know, Sir Toby Belch in one of Shakespeare's plays, where somebody comes up to him and he says to him, well, Sir Toby, I haven't seen you in 3-4 months. And Sir Toby Belch looks at him and says, yes, I'm 3 months closer to the grave. This is what it's about. You know, I mean, Shakespeare, in his own profoundly unique way, hit the nail right on the head. Every day that goes by gets closer to reincarnation. You know, and we need to take advantage of time and what time is offering us as human beings. You know, and stop spending our lives with all these freaking excuses and procrastinations, you know, that do nothing but take one to their next lifetime, to come back here and go through all this bullshit again, you know, because we spent a lifetime procrastinating. So what I'm saying is, you got to take advantage of this. I know it's not easy. People, I mean, look, I look around. Up in this corner, there's Eugene, Oregon, and Florida, and another one from Florida. I mean, you know, people from the Midwest, people from New York, people from all over the place. It's not easy what I'm talking about, but somehow we all have to make it work. And we have to find the time and use the time that's available to us to make this kind of thing work. And to me, I couldn't think of a more fulfilling thing than to see somebody show up who has that kind of hunger, that kind of need to grow and have a spiritual life. I'm not going to put them in orange robes. I'm not going to give them all kinds of fancy Hindu names and all that bullshit, you know? I mean, it's not in my karma. I didn't like it 50 years ago. I don't like it. Not that I don't like it. I don't find it very relevant for a spiritual life today. But what they will get and what people will get will a transmission of this Shakti, the energy, a direct link to Rudy, who is kind of up there rooting us all on, you know, to truly find this amazing work that he did and use it, you know, to grow, to develop, you know, and become, well, let's put it this way, to become a servant of God in the world. And being a servant of God does not mean you stop loving your family. You stop loving your family, you're not a servant of God. You stop respecting the people in your life, you're not a servant of God. You stop finding the food you eat, you know, whatever it is, truly, you know, miraculous. Everything is miraculous. You are no longer a servant of God because life itself is the temple. And as I've said 1,000 times, not ashrams, not, you know, people, sacred grounds. And, you know, look, I've been on sacred grounds all over the world. And Chris can tell you the story someday, about the guy who came to me and wanted me to bring all my students to Machu Picchu because there was a harmonic convergence. And he went on for a half hour, 45 minutes selling me this stuff. And I just had one question to ask him. I said, what happens the day after? So what happens the day? Do people sustain it? Or is it just that day, at that moment, that there's 150 swamis sitting there, trying to bring, meanwhile, you have the war in Ukraine and you have, COVID and you have this and then it just endlessly goes on, because people don't continue to do the work the day after. I told the guy, look, I do this every day of my life. I don't have to go to Machu Picchu in order to, sit in some harmonic convergence that's going to save the world. First world that has to be saved is the world of each and every one of us. Because nobody's going to save the world until we finally, become happy. We really become happy people, full of joy, full of love, and we live our lives that way. So things are going to change now. Really, I don't know how. They're going to probably change slowly. I'm not going to stop teaching these classes. These classes are very valuable. I mean, I don't know any other way to bring people together from 3 or 4 different continents in a meditation. I always wondered, how the hell was I ever going to do that? And then COVID, I think God gave the world COVID so I could learn to do this. I almost feel responsible. COVID is in the world because it taught me how to do this, how to bring people together. But now there has to be the training. The development of people so that this work really can sustain itself. It can continue into the world. It's not a work where people are dressed in all kinds of costumes and smell from incense and, really used to call, spiritual hors d'oeuvres, It has nothing to do with that. It's building the fire inside that can transform whatever it is we have to live through in life into an opportunity to get closer to God. Having that kind of fire in oneself. And I love it. I loved it from Rudy. I've seen it work in my own life endlessly. And I want to pass it on to all of you and to people who can ultimately use that kind of inner development, to train not an army of people, but, some people that really are willing to use that kind of depth of work to transform themselves. So, I mean, this week was a very quiet week for me. It was wonderful, and, I didn't speak the language. I didn't, it was great. And I really had to go deep in myself to find, the changes that are going to take place and to truly, pass the changes on to people. I'm going to do retreats again, which I know are tremendously transformative weekends, those retreats. And they're not easy for me to do. I'm not 40 years old anymore to take on and work with 25 people, 3 classes a day, excuse me, and doing healing and all that. I mean, it's a big effort. And I'm hoping that people attend these. I mean, look, we have 21 people signed up already. And I told Jennifer that the limit is going to be 25 people. So if you want to come, don't, start hanging around in your head and making all kinds of excuses why you are not going to be there. Just sign up, because after 25, it's going to be a waiting list. And I'm doing this for a simple reason. How can I truly nourish people? I mean, if I have 50 people, really do this work with 50 people? 3 classes a day, hands-on healing, it's too much. So I want 25 people that are truly committed to this and are willing to sacrifice something else. You don't have the money, earn the money, get the money. Don't rob a bank, but learn how to earn money in life. I mean, stop being a victim of life's economics, and you walk around, spend the rest of your life being a victim to money. It's so stupid. You just do these things. You learn how to grow in life and to mature in life, and stop being a welfare case for the human race. People have to learn how to do this kind of stuff. It's part of growing up. So all of this is really part and parcel of the changes that are taking place inside me. And as I say, I'm not getting younger, and maybe I'm going to demand more from people. I don't know, but I certainly am going to demand more for myself to continue to grow and to continue to try to develop people so they can truly become children of God, truly living in the world, transmitting energy and joy to other human beings, not being victims of life, but truly being masters of themselves and masters of the world that they live in without hurting anybody else, without being some kind of schmuck like this guy Putin, who before he dies wants to destroy the world, So we really need to learn to grow and to master our internal worlds and learn how to become children of God.
Mm.
And you don't become a child of God because you don a costume. Or you walk around, smelling from incense, or you eat vegetables, it's all bullshit, You become a child of God because you have built a chakra system that enables you to transform everything that you experience in life into something sacred. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? So just to finish that, I'm going to start my in-person classes on Tuesday at, I think it's 4:00. There's a few people that have signed up. And I'm going to be doing this at least four or five times a week. I think it's 4 times a week, plus teaching all these classes every week. And and as I say, my purpose is very clear. I need to give this away. And I will do whatever it takes to give it away, without I'm not sure, I can't come up with the word, but I'm sure you all know what I mean, And I think to me, this is really valuable. And again, I'll repeat it. Being a child of God, transmitting God's energy has nothing to do with walking away from your families, walking away from your jobs, walking away from everything that's precious to you. It just means that you can love these people more, you open more, and at the same time, nothing in life has you. You become a child of God. And you can transmit the teachings, the sacred teachings to people, not in my way, but maybe in your own way, the language I use isn't exactly the language that Rudy used. The way Rudy lived his life is a lot different than the way I've lived my life, But ultimately, the essence is the same. The essence is the same. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Somebody has a question? Okay. All right. Well, God bless you all and thank you. And I always say, I end the class, I'm grateful for every single person that comes here. Everyone, nobody that attends my classes is ever taken for granted. And it doesn't matter if I like people, I don't like people. When it comes to this, it's God's work and there are no likes or dislikes. It's just the transmission of Shakti and the helping human beings to grow in their life, and to really become more conscious and more open to the possibilities that life offers. So thank you and bless you all. And I really hope, that this comes into fruition for both myself and for all of you. And we find a way that this incredible meditation can be passed on from generation to generation. As I say all the time, I can't do this without you. I mean, I guess I have a lot of statues here, Buddha and this one and that, Hindu, Buddhist. I can't sit and talk to them. The miracle is that we're all human and we all, have needs inside. And maybe my job is to break down the barriers inside people and help them to truly grow and develop deeper consciousness and ultimately to be just a vehicle for God's energy in the world. So thank you, bless you all. And there'll be a class tomorrow evening. I'm very happy to be back. I'm very happy to see all your faces. And I think it's a great miracle what goes on here. I'm hoping to add to the miracle now. So bless you all. And I will see you all tomorrow evening. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.